Morning. Yeah. Well, today we're coming back to a young Earth creationist liar named Matt Powell, who makes some very interesting, if bizarre, claims that we're gonna address. Okay, because Matt Powell is a lying sack of shit. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Because evolution asserts that we all descended from fish, there is no evidence to support such a claim. We descended from Adam and Eve, two humans, not fish. We've even discovered remains of humans that existed thousands of years ago, and we've found that they were much more fit than humans are today. What that means is that we are devolving. We started out with a good set of genetics at the beginning, and we have degraded since.
Yeah. So let me tell you why that's bullshit. Okay. First of all, evolution does not assert anything. Evolution cannot assert anything. Evolution is simply a process, a biological process of genetic change over time, filtered through selective pressure from generation to generation. It cannot assert anything. Second of all, if you've read any of the literature on the evolution of chordates, I forgot the word there for a moment. The evolution of chordates. Humans are chordates. Fish are chordates. All chordates are descended from fish. A chordate is something that has a notochord. And most chordates have an internal skeleton. We are descended from fish. This is, yes, a fact. Finally, there's that bizarre claim that ancient people were more fit and that we are somehow devolving. What Powell is looking at is examples of hunter-gatherers from the past and comparing them to modern American suburbanites, who are incredibly unfit. I will add. Suburbanites are incredibly unfit. Hell, I, living in a modern society, am far less fit, not because of genetic devolution, but because of lifestyle. My lifestyle as an urban wage slave requires me to be very sedentary, which means I'm not getting the kind of exercise that I need to be as fit as I would like to be. Believe me, working an 8 to 10 hour shift every day, day in, day out, for most of a week, leaves you with very little energy to chase gazelle or to migrate to the next valley 500 miles away. Yeah. Now, I used to be in better shape when I was younger and healthier, and what they found is that among ancient human remains, people who were older tended to be less fit than people who were younger. But Powell isn't going to admit to this. He's also not going to admit that we have people thousands of years ago who were horribly unfit. The remains of Egyptian pharaohs, the remains of early Chinese emperors. These people were morbidly obese. They had diabetes. They were in terrible shape. Privilege, urban living, all these things cause physical unfitness. It is not that genes are devolving. It is that people are not getting enough fucking exercise. We humans are not getting enough exercise, and if we were living a hunter-gatherer lifestyle like modern Kalahari Bushmen and like modern Yamonamos in Brazil, we would be in great shape, just like they are. They are in great shape. They are in every bit as good shape as our primitive hunter-gatherer ancestors were 10,000 years ago. Farming and the rise of cities has led to unfit people, not genetic devolution. Farming and the rise of cities. Yeah. So no, Matt, we are not becoming less fit because we are devolving. We've become less fit because we don't need to hunt down gazelle constantly to survive. We don't need to migrate from one campsite to the next every day. We don't need to be in peak physical condition. And so as a result, we have become physically unfit. And yes, there are modern humans who are every bit as physically fit as our primitive hunter-gatherer ancestors. Hell, modern Olympic athletes are able to maintain the same high levels of fitness as ancient hunter-gatherers, but it costs thousands of dollars a week just to maintain that physical fitness. Yeah. Or conversely, yeah, they could move to the Serengeti or the jungles of the Amazon and live as hunter-gatherers. And again, they would be in far better shape than we in the modern world are. It's not about genes or having degenerated genes or devolved genes. It's about lifestyle. My 21st century urban wage slave lifestyle precludes me from maintaining the kind of physical fitness that my hunter-gatherer ancestors had. And yes, when I was a farm worker, I was in much better shape as a teenage farm worker than I am now as an urban wage slave. Would I go back to it? Maybe. It's very tempting. I was in much better shape. Yeah. But no, Matt Powell is being very selective in these specimens that he is choosing and deliberately ignoring the real reason, which is, again, lifestyle. Why does Matt Powell do this? Well, because he's a lying bag of shit. Yeah. So, so, while we're here, I'd like to look at another absolute doozy of a Matt Powell lie. And that is...
Some people actually think that dinosaurs farted themselves to death. No joke, you can look it up.
Now, I did search Matt Powell's extensive video library for the name of the researcher, the British researchers that his sources, infotainers, cite. And yes, he cites infotainers. He does not cite actual scientists. He cites infotainers. From RT News and ABC News, infotainers. I mean, he may as well have cited Fox News for all that its validity in science. But he never gives the name of a single scientist who actually made the claim that dinosaurs farted themselves into extinction. Because there's not a single scientist who accepts such a notion. Now, I will admit that it is possible that some unknown researcher, quote unquote, made the asinine claim. But that researcher is far more likely to have been a first-year gender studies student than a scientific researcher. Yeah. Which may be why Matt Powell very carefully and strategically avoids posting the name. But of course, Matt Powell is nothing if not absolutely dishonest. It is his nature to lie shamelessly about things that are easily checked. And so I did some research and discovered that no, there is no researcher anywhere who has ever actually made the claim. The story appears to have started with infotainers. Literally, pseudo-journalists whose job is to give us titillating stories to keep us interested and boost up the ratings of the network. Matt Powell's source is infotainers. Professional bullshitters who are paid to look good and say things that will get people's eyes glued to their television set. Yeah, that is Matt Powell's one and only source for the idea that any scientist has ever claimed that dinosaurs farted themselves into extinction. So what do scientists agree on? Well, let me tell you. Now, Matt Powell does go on at great length to claim that the scientists say, quote unquote, that dinosaur farts caused global warming which killed the dinosaurs. But what is the actual scientific consensus? Well, the scientific consensus is that either A, there was an asteroid impact, or B, there was an asteroid impact and a major volcanic event, both of which caused global cooling, not warming, cooling. So yes, the scientific consensus, as it has been understood for the last 30 years, is still that Matt Powell is wrong. So yeah, the scientific consensus, based upon the weight of evidence, is that the dinosaurs were wiped out by an asteroid impact in the Chicxulub area of the Yucatan Peninsula about 65 million years ago. There is literally zero actual scientific support for the idea that dinosaurs were wiped out by farts. Zero. But what there is, and this seems to be Matt Powell's only source, is tabloid television. Tabloid television. I want you to think about that. Matt Powell is using tabloid television as his source of information because, yes, in his video, Matt shows the two tabloid television talk hosts talking about it. And they claim anonymous researchers in England as their source. But that's the thing. Have you ever known researchers to not give their names? And the reason for that scientific consensus is the sheer weight of evidence. We have the impact site. We've dated the impact site. We have the evidence that the impact was of a very large object, probably 6 miles across, maybe 7, that slammed into the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico about 65 million years ago. We have the impact site. We also have the volcanic remains, the Deccan Traps, which are the lava fields generated by a massive shield volcano that also erupted around 65 million years ago. So yeah, the evidence, the sheer weight of evidence is that either it was an asteroid impact or it was an asteroid impact plus a massive volcanic eruption. No dinosaur farts. None. That's the scientific consensus. That is what is agreed on by more than 99.9% of paleontologists, geologists, and biologists. 99.9%. That's a fairly sizable chunk. So yes, when two television tabloid show hosts claim anonymous researchers in England have offered up dinosaur farts as the reason for the extinction of the dinosaurs, I think it's time to seriously disregard those talk show hosts in favor of, ta-da, the scientific consensus. Something to think about. Yeah, so, as I'm saying, if your source is tabloid television, you don't have a source. And if you cannot name a single scientist who says what you are saying that scientists are saying, then you don't have a scientist saying anything, and scientists are not saying it. The consensus is that dinosaurs died out because of a cold snap caused by an asteroid impact and possibly also caused by volcanic activity. A decades-long cold snap. That's it. Not global warming caused by dinosaur farts, but global cooling caused by volcanic activity and an asteroid impact. That's the scientific consensus.